outside for a walk. We just saw a boat go by. It was a gorgeous day. It's hot, very hot, but the humidity is not that bad, but it's still hot. Still very hot. I'll be glad when Layla, she has peed 15 times since we've been out here, and probably she's pooped 3 times. We have some new neighbors, and they have 2 big standard poodles. And they must be mixed with something else. They may be big labradoodles. I'm not sure. I really haven't gotten up close to them. And when their human mama goes to work, they start barking. And as you can see right there, we have a new building going up. So we've got construction workers here. You can probably hear them in the background. Got construction workers here. They start early in the morning and they go until, I don't know. And so I guess when they arrive, they just start barking and bark and bark and bark and bark. Well, it scared her, and she wouldn't go outside because she was scared. She thought they were outside. And to be a big old dog like she is, she's just scared. She's timid of other dogs. Anytime another dog comes up, she lies down in that submissive pose, where their front paws out, or her whole front legs out. And yeah, so she's very submissive. And I don't know. She just won't. I guess she's scared. But so she's been scared, and they finally quieted down, and so I guess she realized she had been in the house long enough and needed to go. Across the river over there, you see that mountainous thing. Okay, well, of course, I'm in Little Rock, so this is Little Rock. Well, what history is here in Arkansas is when, I don't know whether it was DeSoto or whoever was like discovering all of this land, way back, that they were paddling down the Arkansas River, and they looked over there and said Big Rock, pointed over here and said Little Rock, and that's how it stuck. So over there, that side of the river is North Little Rock, Arkansas. Completely separate city, town. I mean, I'm sure they have a large population. The actual city itself, they have a mall, and they have everything. Your traditional suburb, really, of a city. But to get there, you have to cross one of these many bridges, that I've talked about, that go over this river. That's how you get there. And as soon as you go over the river, you're in North Little Rock. So right here we are, North Little Rock. And over there, can't really see, and I would zoom in on it, but this iPhone is absolutely the worst camera I've ever had on an iPhone. But I can see them. I can see people jogging and bicycling. That's like it's a trail. They call it the Arkansas River Trail, and it starts in North Little Rock and makes its way around, and then there's one little area of a road. It's as a crow fly. I actually can see the building, over there, but I don't know where in the United States that all these stores are. I know they're in Texas and Arkansas, but it's a department store, kind of a higher end, kind of Macy's type, and it's called Dillard's. and the Dillard's headquarters is here in Little Rock. And their office building is right on the river. And supposedly that when they were building building the Arkansas River Trail, and it was meant for like joggers and bicyclers and all that, to make it, a pedestrian, friendly type thing going around the river. And there's an imaginary area that goes along the river. Any river, lake, anything in the state of Arkansas. I'm sure it's that way everywhere, but they call it the White Line. And what it means is you're not allowed to do, it's owned by the government, either by your state government or federal government, and you're not allowed to do anything on the one side of the White Line. So I know, like where we used to live, we lived up by this beautiful lake, and the people, like the trees would grow, the people who lived on the lake, and sometimes those trees would grow so high that they would impair their vision to the lake. And there were all kinds of stories about people starting fires to burn the trees down, and poisoning the trees so they would die, and all kinds of stuff, just so they would have a view of the lake. But so anyway, Dillard's, what they did was, of course, the White Line, if you're right along the edge of the river, it's literally like, I'm sure that those bushes and stuff right there are the White Line, because as you can see how nicely these two office buildings keep the yard mowed and all that, but you notice it cuts off right there. And I'm sure if they owned it, they would have it all bush hogged and everything, and take it all the way down to where you could actually just look over the bank into the river. But they don't, so that tells me that that land is not theirs. But so anyway, Dillard's wouldn't give them access to their property. So that Arkansas River Trail cuts off right there, and then it picks back up on down the road a little bit, which is annoying for people who like to walk, and people who, especially people who ride bicycles. It's very annoying to them because they've got this trail that goes literally all around the river until they get right there, and then they have to get back up on the main street, which is a pretty busy street. They have to get back up on it and get in with traffic. So yeah, that was kind of annoying, but it's really pretty. It's really windy too. You can hear it, but it's really windy. Over here, jumping around, or she can start, or she gets her head all down in the grass. Yeah, we had a few years ago, in 2019, you can see this thing right here. What this is a levee. I'm standing on top of the levee, and all of the main drains of the city of Little Rock flow into this thing right here, and then empties into the river. So in 2019, we had like torrential rains for like a month. I mean, it rained solid. Just solid. I mean, it just never stopped. And the river was, you can see that thing up out of the water right there. The river was literally, you could just barely see the top of it. The water was all the way, just right up here. Well, we couldn't even get to this area over here. We couldn't even walk over here. They had it all fenced off. Well, in the middle of the night one night, the huge pipe that flows under the ground, you know, and then up, like I said, we're on top of a levee, comes up and comes down to there. It burst in the middle of the night. Well, it literally ran underneath these apartments right here, underneath them. And, which is weird to me. I get when I say pipe, it's huge. So, those people were awakened in the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, by what felt like an earthquake. And what acted like an earthquake, it buckled the third floor people. It buckled their porches under. The fire department had to come and rescue them out of their apartment. And it was pouring down raining. And, you know, they knew they had to grab some stuff. And, they had to grab enough stuff to be able to, you know, they didn't know when they were going to come back to their apartment. Well, needless to say, that they've never been back. They relocated some of them to other apartments. They gave them the option of just moving away, or they, you know, relocate. They had to buy new furniture and everything. So, for 3 years, they have been tied up in negotiations over who actually was responsible for this area right here. Was it the Army Corps of Engineers, or was it the state of, or the city of Little Rock? Because it had to do with the leasing of this land and all that, and we were just at a standstill over here with these empty apartments. I mean, they just literally started crumbling, you know, because the ground underneath was not stable anymore. So they finally got the pipe back, and I mean, it was a massive. It was horrible. And they finally started work. They had to tear one building completely down. They just had to tear it down. I mean, it had just crumbled. The foundation had just literally crumbled. So they had to tear it down. And these other ones right here, I mean, look at them. It's awful. Look at the deterioration, because no one's lived in them all this time. And so after they're through building these other ones, they're supposed to start in on renovating those. Oh, look, there's a jet skier. I mean, I really and truly wish we could get in that water, but it's nasty. One time, a leg was floating down that river, but just a human leg. But anyway, my phone's about to die. I can barely see it because I'm out here in the bright sun. So, y'all have a wonderful day. Layla and I are going to go back home. Thank you.